Assalamu alaikum, welcome back sisters. You're watching Women's AM with myself Ayan, and on the panel today we have Sister Yasmin, Aisha and Claire. It's now time for our final segment this morning where we'll have a review of the ayats memorized so far on the Surah Mulk challenge. So mashallah, we've just got Surah ayah 7 on today, so that is the new challenge, alhamdulillah. But so far we should have memorized verses 1 to 6, and I think what's really lovely about the importance of this surah, which is that it protects one from the punishment of the grave, and that it becomes an intercessor for us in the day of judgment. But I wanted to look at particularly the first ayah, which it says, "Blessed is he in whose hand is in the dominion, and he is able to do all things." And the reason why I love this, and not only because it's the opening ayah of this surah, is because it reminds us of Allah's power. He is able to do all things. Everything is within his hands. So it kind of, for me, it reinforces the fact that, you know, everything is up to him. You know, I can try, I do my best, but at the end of the day, the results belong to him. So I should look to him. If things, especially if things don't go my way, I can be a bit of a control freak. So I remember, okay, it's not in my hands, it's in Allah's hands. So I do my part and I leave the rest up to him. So that for me is always a really good reminder.
So I've come to look at the second ayah, which is he who created death and life, that he may try you, which of you is best in deeds, and he is the most mighty, the forgiving. I think because as you've mentioned, this is the surah that we're advised to recite before we go to sleep, as it will be a protection from the punishments of the grave. It's really important to think about death. And personally, not sure about you guys, but death has always, excuse me, death has always been something that has moved me to become a better person, or try to become a better person, because it's the inevitable and you're not going to escape it. And there are so many ayats that state, you know, every day every soul shall taste death, and even if you are at the highest mountains, you can't escape death. So it's a reality, and it's a reality check indeed. You know, you can't escape it, and it's kind of like saying to you, you better fix up before you meet your death, because it is an appointment that you can't avoid. So it's something that
helps you to, well, it motivates you, did you say?
Yeah, to become a better person, more conscious, especially in Ramadan. You know, Allah says, you know, fasting has been prescribed to you so that you may become more God conscious and righteous. So it's something that I try to check myself upon. Inshallah.
For me, I found that ayah number 4, which says that then cast your eyes again and again, and the eye will come back to you, obeys, and in state of weariness, really reminds us that Allah has created everything in perfection. And even if you try to find any flaws in it, you won't be able to. You'll be exhausted before you find any flaws in Allah's creation. So that really does remind me of Allah's perfection and how limited we are in what we can create and how Allah has created everything.
But even to bask in the glory of His creation as well, because you think, my goodness, look at those clouds. They're just subhanallah. They're just up there, and those birds and all these things. Subhanallah, it reinforces that, you know, again, Allah is the one who does, who's able to do all things.
It does link what you're talking about, birds, clouds, and to your eyes to the skies. I really like the start of ayah 5. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا. So that hasn't God beautified the nearest skies, like the nearest heavens? And it just made me think that with science, because I was a great scientist before, I got my physics A-level under my belt, so I was quite into science, and you know, we have telescopes, you know, we can look far into the sky, and there's races, isn't there, to look further and further. But all of this is just within the first sky, and there's 7 in all. So can you just imagine the limit of, you know, human achievement and the, you know,
the extraordinary, the extraordinary power of Allah and all His creation,
and how we are so limited. And we are so limited as human beings.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair for that, sisters. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of today's show, but do join us again tomorrow. We'll be discussing the topic of I Can't Fast. Before we go, here's another quick reminder of this week's competition.